Hello, my shitty friends, and welcome. This is John Rowe Presents the show. My name is John, and I am joined by the master of ceremonies himself. Ladies and gentlemen, OJ is here.
Good evening, everyone, or good morning if you're catching this on your way to work. Hello, and how are you doing?
That sounded pretty professional. Did you prepare that before?
I'll leave that up to the philosophers to decide.
Are you trying to do a more professional job now? Planning
You
things
said
out?
better first. What does that imply?
It means nothing. All right, so today on the show, we are happy to announce that we'll be joined by the voice of the sniper in Team Fortress 2, who everyone loves, right?
Oh, yeah, my gosh. Well, except he kills us all the time.
Okay, he's also been in many other titles, including No One Lives Forever, and a little game called Halo, you may have heard of. So today on the show, we have John Patrick Lowry will be here. Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented guy. You excited about this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we met him at MagFest. He's amazing.
Yeah, we actually met him at MagFest, and he was nice enough to agree to come on and hang out with the likes of us tonight. So that's very cool. You were actually the one that approached him at MagFest.
Yes. He seemed very nice. He was a very cool guy.
I was occupied recording people.
White mages, perhaps?
The infamous white mage incident. Well, you got the business done. So this is really your doing, so I appreciate that.
Anytime. Honestly, I'd love to meet this. I wanted to meet this guy, so.
Right, so now
Not
you
to
have him
mention
on.
he's wrote a book.
Maybe you'll do a better job, like I implied earlier, now that he's coming on. And you read his book, you said, right?
Oh, yeah, I did.
All right, so we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to talk about voice acting and games and many, many topics. So stick around for that. That'll be the end of the show. Don't skip ahead. So I think people are going, oh, okay, I'll just skip to the end. Don't do that. You'll listen to the other stuff first.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't do that. But that'll be coming later on.
You got to get acclimated to the show. You can't just skip
Exactly.
ahead. That's like jumping straight into a sauna.
Yeah, you got to get your feet wet a little bit, and then,
You walk straight into a sauna.
then you go into the deep end. So as we get started here on the show, I want to point out that yet again, we had an awesome intro. Once again, created by the fine Ramborgian people out there. And I don't know if you knew this, last week's episode of the show, we had 8 different people that contributed art and music to the episode.
Wow. I got to say, we've got a lot of cultural exports here.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing.
We've been getting some really amazing stuff. You've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, I am thoroughly impressed. I've set one of the pictures someone's done as my background right now at home.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff brings a tear to my eye. It's so beautiful. So I want to thank everyone out there that's been doing this and sending this stuff in. Please keep them coming as well. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
A few people have actually asked me, a lot of people have asked me week to week how they can send their artwork and songs into the show.
Mm-hmm.
What most people have been doing is they upload their stuff to like DeviantArt or to like PhotoBucket, and then they kind of like pass the link off to me on Twitter or on like YouTube. But what we've done today, we've kind of simplified the entire process. We've set up an email address specifically for this stuff. You can easily send mail and attach stuff to it and all that. It is stayballsy@gmail.com. Stayballsy@gmail.com. So send stuff to that, whatever you got. And you guys that have been doing the DeviantArt or the PhotoBucket or whatever you've been doing so far, you want to continue doing that, that's perfectly fine as well. You can do it that way too. If you want more of like a simplified way, stayballsy@gmail.com. And what you and I actually talked about is we want to take all the art and songs and actually put them available for everyone to get.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I would very much think that was a great idea, and I think everyone would like it.
Yeah, I think that's something we're going to have to figure out, hopefully. So then people can go on and grab whatever picture they want, do whatever they want to it, use it as wallpaper. Maybe you want to like put it on your wall, throw darts at it.
Aww.
Whatever you want to do, make a toilet seat, I don't know. Whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. So, the other thing that we're trying to work on is the store.
Yeah, which it
So
looks like.
give us an update about the store's condition. This is now week 3 that we promised the store and have not delivered one.
Yeah, so we've moved from our shopping cart provider from oh gosh, why doesn't this work, to, hey, that was actually a lot less painful than I anticipated. And I've started working with this new shopping cart, and it is working much better. We've actually managed to do test orders. I need to make sure that the shipping's up, that it decreases the quantity of things when you order them, and then just plug in the rest of our products that we've got so far, the T-shirts and whatnot. And honestly, I think that, we can get this done by the end of week 4.
So what is that? Where are we at right now? Today
is
Thursday night. So we're looking at
by next Thursday.
You're scaring me. By next week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing next Thursday, maybe Saturday at the absolute latest. Because this seems like it's working pretty darn well. It was super easy. The only thing that'll hold us back is making sure it handles the quantities properly, because I tested it earlier, and I pretended to order 10 shirts.
All right.
And then the quantity stayed the same number. But then when I deleted the order and clicked, OK, add the shirts I ordered back into the stock, it went up by 10.
Well, this has certainly become a quest of sorts. Mm-hmm. So hopefully by next week, we can actually announce that it's up.
Yeah, and I wanted to say
which I think I've said the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I do want to say again, thanks to everyone who sent suggestions for shopping carts and ways to get this working. Right. Well, I think I found one that looks like it's going to be okay, and we'll find out whether it's okay by sometime in the next 9 days.
Excellent. Let's get this done. And the stuff is all, I'll reiterate what I said last week, the stuff's all still here in pristine condition, ready to roll. So
boxed and bagged.
As soon as the store's up, we'll be ready to go.
Start sending it out.
So what's going on this week? What have you been up to this week?
This week?
Anything interesting happening?
Interesting stuff. Well, I can tell you what's happening this weekend.
What's going on?
Now, I heard there was a big soccer game going on. I don't really pay attention too much, but
soccer?
Yeah, a big soccer game. Yeah. I don't know on Sunday. But my friends and I many weeks ago ordered tickets to go see, I guess, some religious thing. It's called the Book of Mormon. So I'll let you all know how that goes.
It's about Mitt Romney and his quest for the presidency.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It should be. I heard it had some wonderful songs. Mitt's character has a splendid baritone.
So can we expect a review of the Book of Mormon next week on the show?
If people would like to have one.
Will you sing one of the songs for us as well?
If you think it won't break people's speakers.
If they want to, they'll let us know. If you want to hear OJ sing the Book of Mormon songs, please let us know. So that's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and stuff, too, and maybe catch some of Citizens Brigade.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I got something pretty interesting going on this weekend. I'm doing a little filming.
Oh, really? Filming? What
could that be? Two comrades of mine.
Oh?
Doing a little filming. So that's kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that should be fun.
Yes. I have been having a problem, though, since MagFest. My eyes have been insanely red and burning.
Yeah.
And as I said before in the show, I wear contacts, right?
Yeah.
I can't even get my contacts in. This has been going on since it was around during MagFest. I think the last day. I wear glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were there, you saw that, right?
Yeah.
And then I was from then on, I can't put them in. I put them in. 5 seconds later, it's burning. So what do you got, Dr. OJ? What do you got for me? What can I do about this?
Well, my first suggestion. No, honestly, I mean, I think.
Well, you were ripping on me.
I was ripping on you at MagFest, man.
Tell everyone why.
Because, all right, I used to wear contact lenses before I started getting really lazy. But if you read the instructions that the doctor gives you, blah blah blah, all that boring nonsense mumbo jumbo, one thing they really suggest doing is putting the contact lens in your palm, rinsing it with the solution, flipping it over, and then rinsing it again before you put it into the case for the night.
Right. And
that really helps keep off infection and keeps your eyes in much better shape. And I saw John just kind of not ever do that. So I was kind of that.
And you were yelling at me. You're like, oh, I was just taking them out. You're like, you're not washing your hands.
Yeah, that too, definitely. Oy.
Here's the thing. I've been wearing contacts for a long time. This has never happened before.
Well, keep in mind, you're at a hotel.
I think you guys did something to me.
Dude, you're at a convention with how many thousands of people in close quarters?
I'm sure everyone there has immaculate. Everyone at that convention had immaculate hygiene. I guarantee you.
You're kidding me, right? They were giving us armbands that you weren't supposed to take off even to shower.
I don't know. So I think you guys like took my pillow when I wasn't there and pink-eyed my pillow, or took it into the bathroom, and I don't know what you did to it, but that's what I think. That's what I'm going with.
No.
There's pending litigation against you coming.
All right. The honest
No, I don't know what's gonna
no.
happen.
The honest fact of the matter is, all right. When you were out, we snuck into the room. We hired some people outside, brought them in, did unspeakable things, and they may or may
Sick
not
people. They're
have
sick.
been in and or around your pillows and bed. And then we
Wow,
left
I don't
and
think-
ushered them out before you came back.
I don't even know what you're implying anymore. It's beyond my scope of thought,
Excellent.
of decency.
Decency, yes. Well,
So
beyond
I haven't been able to wear the contacts in a long time, and I'm not sure how I'm going to film. I might have to just do it blind
Well, you can use.
or try to get them in. I bought this Visine Maximum Redness Relief
Yeah.
stuff. It does nothing. It's like I think it's water. I think it just poured it. It does nothing.
Oh man. Well,
It'll be interesting.
It could be saline solution plus a little.
But I'm still looking forward to it, and I'm gonna try my, whatever happens, and even if I can't see, it'll add to the fun of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I'm pretty blind too. I think you'll get through it okay, as long as you don't have to like. It's not like you're reading cue cards or anything. You can see
It's not like I'm
amorphous
doing
blobs.
anything-
Like, okay, that's Phil. That's Howard.
Yeah. It's not like I'm doing anything that difficult, really.
Hopefully,
It's not like I'm on stage reciting like a Shakespearean poem or anything.
or pulling a Jackie Chan and doing your own stunts.
Yeah, right. So that should be okay, but we'll see what happens.
One last
You know-
thing about. Oh, sorry. Do you want to say
ahead.
something about filming before we're done with this section, though?
Go ahead.
Speaking of filming, as some people may have remarked, my channel has been dormant for an entire month, which is
Did people
it's
really comment on
unconscionable.
that?
It's terrible.
People
I know.
really comment about this?
Yeah, people have commented about it, and I'm pleased to report that I now have a camera that doesn't make me sad. So you can expect to see footage from me again in the coming weeks. Now that I can record without that terrible whining sound, aside from my voice, obviously, and it should be a lot clearer and a lot crisper.
You got like an
and
amazing
I'm
camera
gonna be
now,
a lot
right?
happier with what comes out.
Now you have like an awesome camera.
Pretty good one, yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I'm very happy with it. So
We'll have to put that to good use.
yeah, some way, one way or another.
All right. Excellent. Now we can finally enter the porn business as we always planned. That's what this YouTube thing was all about. It was just a nice transition into directing pornography.
Once you get the people watching, they can't look away.
So here's an interesting thing I want to talk about. Today I did my taxes.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. I got all my stuff in the mail, so all the appropriate documents came. So I was like, all right, let's do this. It's tax time. I'm ready. Took me about 2 hours using TurboTax.
Yeah, that's what I used to.
Do you use TurboTax?
Yeah.
I did not know that. You like it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've used it for the past, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, me too.
It's been pretty good. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, it works really well. They, it sounds like we're actually plugging them right now. They should give us some money for a sponsorship now because we just put them.
Or
over
at least
the gate.
upgrade me from, like, deluxe to premiere or something.
Yeah, what the heck is that? I like how they hit you at the very end. They're like, oh, you did all your taxes. Now you can upgrade and get better stuff.
Oh, yeah. Or if you want to submit your state electronically, it's going to be another, like, $15.
Right.
Like, no, I have a printer. I can do this.
So I never had a problem with my taxes ever, except for last year. I got a letter from the IRS, and this wasn't TurboTax's fault. It was the IRS's fault, as we'll find out as I tell the story. But I get this letter saying that in 2009, I made 20 grand more than I had reported to them, and that listen to this, I had 3 weeks to send them 7 grand in back taxes, or there's gonna be more penalties added to that. Did you get all that?
Yeah, that's a little insane.
So it didn't even make any sense because in 2009 I actually had 2 full-time jobs. So according to the IRS, I had a third full-time job, which was news to me. So it's basically like a complete mess up on their part. But the annoying thing about this was the burden was on me to prove it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So I was basically guilty until I proved myself innocent.
It's the opposite of the justice system.
It was completely ridiculous. So I had to like contact like a tax lawyer guy, I had to get all these documents together, all this stuff signed. I had to spend, a lot of time and my own money, basically. Actually, my own money cost me money to prepare all this stuff and prove them wrong, basically. And I had to mail this giant packet to them. And then, like, a month later, I get an apology letter from the IRS, which I still have, actually. I kept that. It was a nice apology. But...
IRS stands for I'm really sorry.
Right. I thought you were going to say something else. I was afraid that we were going to get in trouble from the IRS.
Oh.
I'll continue.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's pretty scary stuff, though. I mean, like, how does that happen? The whole thing should be done electronically. So how is this? It's all numbers. It's social security numbers and the stuff you input, and that's all it is. I don't think there's like a guy that goes through it, like every document.
Do they have some dude typing everything in manually once it gets there?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Like, what possible
how do you
reason
come
did
to
they
the conclusion that I made that much more money?
I wouldn't mind making that much more money, but I'd be upset if I didn't, and they were charging me for it.
Oh yeah.
Well, at least they found the error and got you off the hook.
I had to find the error, not them.
You know what I mean? At least you found the error and they recognized it and you got off the hook.
Right. So anyway, this year I'm already done. Well, already filed. Pretty good. So was it February right now?
Yeah, just barely February.
That's how I do things. Very efficient.
Oh, you're gonna get mad money, dude.
No, I'm getting some money back. It's not as much as I've gotten in the past. And the main reason for that is because I actually got in the mail from Google. They sent a 1099 MISC, it's called. You know about this?
I've heard of it before.
Okay, it basically shows like non-employee compensation. So they're saying that you're like a freelancer that they paid.
Oh, weird.
So if you don't already know, I got this because my YouTube channel is part of the Google AdSense partner program, and that's why you see ads on my videos. Everyone should check out those ads, by the way.
Stop
Very nice.
saying that, man. You're gonna get in trouble.
I have no fear. So that's basically what I got. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got some really nice extra income from Google this year. This is really awesome. Well, then it turns out that they didn't take out any taxes from the entire year. Right? Because they're supposed to withhold like certain taxes, right? Like your paycheck will have like certain taxes withheld. They didn't do any of this. So a huge chunk of it I had to pay. Now at the end of the year, I was like, oh man, it sucks. But I still wound up with a few extra bucks in the end. I am getting some money back, so.
Good deal.
Hopefully it comes soon because I could use it, so. That's that.
Awesome.
Yes.
I haven't done mine yet. I just got, I have a ton of tax documents because of where I work. So I think I got the last one that I need today.
Right.
So I actually still have to go ahead and order TurboTax.
It's kind of, in some ways, it's kind of fun. Because TurboTax, it makes it almost like it's a, like a game in some ways.
Yeah, and if it's the same computer that you had the year before, and you haven't changed anything, then it just loads almost everything. You update a few numbers here, a few numbers there. Yeah, man, it remembered everything. It was just very easy, and then in the end, I got money. So yeah, I don't know. I don't like filling out forms and stuff. It drives me up the wall. If you get money for it, it's fine. Yeah, but even then, it still bugs the heck out of me. It's funny because even though it's your own money just coming back, dude. Yeah, it's like that's what people go, they always go, oh, it's the all the stores have use your tax refund on extra stuff like TVs and all that. It's like it's not really extra money; it's your own money that's just coming back to you. It's money that they're like, oh, hey, thanks for loaning us this. Here it is. It's zero interest. Right. Exactly, but the people they try to make it like you made money. Well, the thing is, most people don't plan, their budgets around the amount of money that they're going to get back from that. So it's kind of like mystery money that came out of nowhere. All right. Yeah. Well, I think that's enough tax talk for today. Yeah. TurboTax should definitely throw us a bone because we just put them over. Oh, definitely. I want to talk about something. Oh? And get your thoughts on it. Oh, this can't end well. No? Okay. We'll see what happens. So last week, rumors came out about the new Xbox or the next Xbox console. When they come out, and I don't really like talking about rumors, whether it's about games or movies or anything, or like rumors about what celebrity OJ is currently dating. I don't like to talk about this stuff. Yeah. It's usually a big waste of time to talk about rumors and
because most of the time they're not true. This was kind of interesting to me and kind of hits close to home in a lot of ways, so we'll kind of like divulge it, I guess, right?
Sure. I mean, just even if we're not talking about it as a rumor, but as a possibility for something
Right.
down the line.
Okay, yes. In theory. We'll discuss it in theory. So the first rumor about the next Xbox was that its disc format will now be Blu-ray. Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I can see that one being true. Do you have anything to say about that?
About the playing Blu-rays?
Yeah, it's, it is what
I
it is.
mean, it's kind of funny when you have one company licensing stuff from another company that they're competing with.
Right.
But something tells me that Sony has Windows computers in their offices, so
Yeah.
meh.
They all kind of need each other in the end.
Yeah.
So, all
Although
right. So that,
no one's really running to Nintendo for anything.
they're going to have to start making something. They'll make a line of food that people need.
I know Nintendo still makes playing cards and Hanafuda cards, but
Right. So the second rumor about the new Xbox, which I actually have a hard time believing, I don't think it's going to be true, but it's that the next Xbox will not play used games. Okay? So it's a stupid idea, obviously, right? You agree with that?
yeah.
I mean, one of the best things about video games is bringing, your games to your friend's house,
hmm
and maybe they have a game you don't have, and then you mix and match and let people borrow games and play together and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't like differentiate between what's used and what you actually bought, and like there's gonna be a major backlash, I think.
That would
there.
mean it would get what, tied to your account?
You'd have to, I guess, you'd have to bring like your whole console over.
Either that, or you'd
Or your
have to
your
recover
gamer
your
tag.
gamer tag. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just another it's an annoyance basically that you'd have to they'd have to really intricately apply, if they're gonna do that. But here's the thing, it's a really stupid idea. I wish I hope it's not true. But the thing is, like, the reason why we now have the online passcodes for games and what looks to be future innovations to stop you from even playing used games is because the people that actually make the games, people that write the storylines for the game, people that manufacture the boxes and the art, the people that get the coffee, for these studios, they're all getting screwed. And they're being screwed by GameStop. Da, da, da.
There's a few other retailers out there too, but GameStop
Yes,
is the
we'll
biggest
discuss that as well. So we're back to this. The channel has come full circle.
one.
So as you said, yeah, other stores sell used games, but those other stores had to adopt the business practice that GameStop uses so they could compete with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they're really the ones that are at fault, at the top of the ladder, and they're also the ones that have kind of built a monopoly over this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So GameStop does sell new games as well, but their entire business model is to push you towards the used games.
It's funny, they try to push you towards used games and games that aren't out yet.
Yes, they tell you to reserve the game, and then when you buy it, they immediately tell you to give it back to them.
Yeah, it would be funny if
Dollars.
like, you don't even leave the store like, hey, you get an extra $5 on a trade-in of that.
Right.
Turn around, trade it back in. What a great deal.
Well, they do need to sell some new ones so they can eventually get you to
Give
them
back.
back, and then they can sell them as used, which is more profit. So if you go there and ask to buy a new game, they'll try to get you to buy the used version. They'll say, "No, we have this used. It's $4 less. You should get that one." And the employees are taught to memorize what's called the circle of life, which I've talked about before, but this is a real thing. They'll come in and go, "What's the circle of life?" Like the upper management. You have to know this or you're in trouble,
A
right?
song from The Lion King.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what I said, but it starts with a reserve. Then it that turns into a new game sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next step is to get you to trade that in. So it's trade in. And then when you trade it in, they're going to say, if you buy the Edge card, then you're going to get an extra trade-in credit for your game. So then the next step is getting people to buy the Edge card. And then finally, where all this is supposed to lead to, in the end, is used game purchases. Because now you have the Edge card, you get 10% off on used games. So then,
Which are marked up 30%.
well, yeah. So that's like the whole thing. It starts with that reserve, and they bring you to a point where you're only buying or mostly buying used games now with this Edge card, which doesn't really save you much at all.
I do have a confession about that.
There is no other store that sells used games that acts like that. When you go to buy a game and they say you should buy the used one, I've never had that happen before. Anywhere else.
That
So what's your
happened to me
confession?
either.
Yes, what's going on?
No, but I do have a confession to make about that exact sort of thing.
Yes.
I bought Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem used. It was It was a $3 difference in price, and
Terrible.
I guess this was back in high school when I didn't have money.
Yeah.
So I was at a GameStop. I was at the one where the Babbages used to be in the mall, and I caved, man. I went back there and I'm like, well, I guess I could use those $3 as lunch money for school or something. I mean, maybe I'll buy some candy. And I went back there, and it was such a wonderful game that nobody bought, and I didn't give the developers anything. I went to GameStop.
Right. So I'm glad you touched upon that. I was about to say. Now they push you towards the used games because they make 100% profit on the used game, on the used game sales. So let me ask you this, sir. Why should GameStop get 100% profit on a video game sale when they didn't create the game, they didn't do the artwork for the game, they didn't write the storyline, they didn't package it, they didn't do anything? All they did was pay one of their customers, far less than what it was worth, so they could have it, and then pay the dude at the store $8 an hour to, gut it and throw it up on the shelf.
They shouldn't get that much money at all.
So the people that actually make the game, who put their creativity and their work into it,
They're souls.
Again, well, I don't know if that's accurate in all cases.
Metaphorically, they work really hard.
Right.
I'll pull myself together.
I don't know if a lot of soul went into Captain America the game, but
What about Aquaman?
Oh, that was a lot. That was all soul. That was like Barry White type stuff, but so this is what they do, They're making all this money. They had nothing really to do with the creation of the game, and they could do this. It's perfectly fine. It's because of pawn laws, and every GameStop store has a pawn license in that state. That's how how this whole thing works. And it's perfectly legal. It's their right to do it, but ethically, is it the right thing to do?
No.
Right. If you owned a chain of video game retail stores, wouldn't you do what's the very best thing for the video game industry? Because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be kind of what you're encouraging here.
Right. So, I mean, they could work something out and, cut the game industry on something, some type of royalty.
Yeah.
They get it's kind of insane you don't get any kind of royalty for that. So, they're getting massive profits. You would think they would try to work something out just to pacify them,
I have a thought.
Yes.
What if the entire point of this is to just do this as long as they can and then cut and run? Because
that's what it is.
You think about it. I mean, it's almost as if if you think about it, their business model is designed to milk as much money as possible out of the people who are supplying them until it's no longer possible anymore. And then, all right, fine, whatever. Peace.
Well, they're gonna be gone. They're the Blockbuster, like what Blockbuster was in the '90s. That's what they are now, and eventually everything's gonna go to digital downloading of games and stuff, and they're not gonna really need the brick and mortar stores. So you're absolutely right. I think that is what they do. They're just get everything we can out of this, and then cut and run basically. But you would think they would cut some kind of deal with the industry, and give up some of their massive profits. Still keep a massive profit, but maybe a little bit to the other guys. But that's the right to do, so they don't have to do that. I'm not saying they have to do that. But here's the thing. They don't have to do that, but now the game industry, it's within their right to take drastic steps to combat this.
Mm-hmm.
They have the right to do that too. You do one thing. They have the right to do what they have to do. So
they got to do something.
At the end of the day, the bad thing about this, the real losers in this is us, is the consumers.
Exactly.
Right. So because one business uses a practice to make 100% profit on someone else's work, the industry feels screwed. So then they have to do what they feels right, and the people who actually buy the games, they're doubly screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I don't know. I don't think this is true. If it is going to be true, if it is true, and they stop used games, and the industry brings in more money, I would hope that the product that we get will improve as well because now they're making more money.
Oh
So
yeah.
then the game should be better, and all that. So that's what I would hope would be true. I don't know if that would be accurate or not.
Well, I think that the industry would improve if, at the very least, the retail stores selling the product and the developers creating the product, we're on good terms with each other. When everyone's happy with each other, I get the feeling they're going to be more inclined to cooperate. And when they cooperate, everyone wins.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's coming down to one of these things. If you think about it, it's called game theory. It's in economics and programming and and computer science and stuff. But think about, I'm going to get the example wrong, but you can look this up. It's called the prisoner's dilemma, where they capture two prisoners. You've probably heard of this before. They've got two prisoners,
I
right?
think so.
They're in separate rooms,
Yes.
and the policemen go to prisoner A and say, "Hey, prisoner A, if you tell me what prisoner B did, you're going to get off scot-free." And they go to prisoner B and tell prisoner B, "Hey, if you tell me what prisoner A did, you're going to get off scot-free. No problems." What they don't say is that, so if prisoner A rats out B, prisoner A gets no years in prison. He just walks. If prisoner B rats out prisoner A, no years in prison, they both walk. No years in prison, he just walks. If A rats out B, then B gets 10 years. If B rats out A gets 10 years. Also, if no one rats anyone out, they both walk. But if one of them rats out the other, 10 years, no years. So the most reasonable thing, the thing that's going to get them the guaranteed, the best outcome, they're not going to do because the risks are there,
Yeah.
So if you've got these two companies just going at it, trying to do the best for each them as individuals, separated, they're apart, they're locked away, they can't communicate, like the prisoners, we're going to get in trouble. They're going to both implicate each other, and they'll both get 10 years. So
It's like two little kids that they both can't get their way, and then burn down the entire house that you live in because they're both so childish.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, if everybody's looking out for themselves instead of looking out for the whole, we're going to get problems. Look up, but please,
I think that's annoying to me is because the game industry was the ones, for the most of the things I've read from people, they're the ones that are really being vilified. From the whole thing.
The game industry? Oh, because
they're the ones that are they're the villains. Like a lot of people.
What do you mean about this $10 thing to be able to play this copy of Madden online?
Yeah, right. They're the ones that are really coming out as the villains, where they are at fault. But I don't think it's I don't think it's more on their side than the other side.
The thing is, we can live without a GameStop. We have other ways of getting games than a brick and mortar store. But if the developers start going under, that's just bad for everyone.
Right.
I mean, no one's saying EA is about
other stores like other stores always did. There's always been stores that have done used games, but no one did no one pushed it the way GameStop has, where they've almost created this culture, a disposable culture in gaming, where, like we said, they tell you to buy, reserve, you do it, then it's immediately as soon as you buy, you trade that in next week and you get this and that. So it's become they've created a culture of taking it, buying it, returning it, doing something else, then doing it again, and I think it really has hurt the industry overall. So,
well, think of it this way: what sort of game would you rather have? One that you play through in a couple of weeks and feel absolutely no remorse trading back in for more money, or a game that you play through it, you experience every piece of it, you enjoy the whole thing, and then you keep it, and then maybe a few years down the line you go back to it, It's that good. It's like,
yeah. I mean, who's to say? Who knows how they've affected the industry overall?
Yeah.
If we didn't have this disposable culture that they really created, would they be trying to make games that people would play long term?
Exactly. Like, I mean,
or do they already know that? Oh, okay. Well, they're already going to trade it in 2 weeks, so we might as well just give them a little bit and then do the DLC and then give them the sequel a couple months later. And
yeah, I mean, let's just we'll make it 8 hours. Maybe a 2-hour downloadable thing, throw in a few extra costumes, and get working on number 2. That's another $60. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Why give them the ultimate game if they're just going to be trading this in anyway and ready to buy something else?
Yeah. Just keep throwing sequels at them.
So that's it for that. See how it goes.
Yeah.
All right.
And again,
Let's go
please,
to
no.
the comments.
All right, we can do that.
Do it up.
We got a comment here from VlogGuy25. I dedicated my iPod to your show. I got all the episodes, and I listen to it every time I'm going somewhere. Stay ballsy, my friends. Smiley face.
Well, thank you, sir. It quite means a bit to me. Quite a lot.
Yeah,
I actually
I
haven't
love it.
listened to. I actually haven't listened to a lot of the shows myself.
Yeah, our audience has listened to more of the shows than we have, aside from the one time we listen while we're doing it.
Right. Yes, you're right. I did spawn the shows from myself. So I guess I'm kind of like a deadbeat dad. Or I create the kid, but then I don't really pay much attention to it after that.
The creepy uncle.
I think you're the mom. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's continue.
Yes, let's. So we've got a nice compartment of comments here. We have from Flaming Weasel. I just opened a can of Red Bull so I can hear the show until it finishes. Sleep can wait. Monkeys 2, with a Z, was going to sleep, then this showed up in my box. Hashtag Ramborgia problems.
Ramborgia problems. I like that.
And then the last, Bone Daddy 421. Sleep when I'm dead. The show is life.
Yeah, I think what's going on is I've been putting it up like really late on Thursday night, or I guess early on
Friday
mornings, because what happened previously is my old computer would take about 4 to 5 hours to render the video.
Yeah.
So I'd have to like sit up and leave it up all night, overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got up the next morning, I would upload it.
Yeah.
But now my new computer, which I spoke about a couple weeks ago, I got a new computer because my last one exploded.
Awesome.
It does it in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
So a lot of times I'm able to put it up around, like really late on Thursday, and then I guess these guys are staying up all night. Which is cool. I mean, I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah, well, that's what was freaking
Red
me
Bull
out.
all night so you can stay up. It's cool. I mean,
well, two
I
things.
don't want anyone to get hurt. Yeah.
One, I remember coming up and getting to work in the morning and then just hitting F5 on your page, on your channel, until the new video came up.
Right.
And then I've been coming in, and it's like, what do you mean we've already got 303 views? What? But one other thing, yeah. Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm very happy that you are so dedicated and listening to all of us. But I will tell you that I value, like, I put sleep up there, man, with like mad important stuff. If I'm not getting 8 hours, I'm like dead the next day. So, if I were gonna do that, I'd probably put the headphones on or play it like while I'm going to sleep, like subliminal style. Start waking up quoting Rambo here. It'd be amazing.
Yes.
You need to get your sleep, man.
Well, we don't want anyone to hurt themselves, but that's what they choose to do. That's appreciated. You want to hurt yourself for us? That's awesome. I appreciate it. Just don't sue us or file any kind of lawsuit against us.
Yeah, don't do anything that you could potentially sue us for doing.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it. I mean, if you're
you
going to
could
stay
do
up
things
late,
that you could. No, you could do things that you could sue us for. Just don't sue us. That's fine. You can actually do things whatever you want. Just don't then do it.
Oh gosh.
All right. Cool stuff.
All right. Okay, so we've got a large group here that I'm going to run through, and then we can talk about them.
I stay up all night doing stuff sometimes I'm not supposed to do.
If I do that, usually it's when I don't have to do anything the next day, so I'll just sleep in till noon or later. So just be healthy, you guys. The only diseases we want you to get are digital ones.
I got the DVD for Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and Down?
Which is a HBO show. It's an amazing comedy. So like I started watching it. I'm like I'll watch like 2 episodes. And it's like late. Wound up watching the whole second season. Was up like most of the night. So I understand that, like, that's cool. If someone's doing that with the show, like, that's
we're
awesome.
honored.
Yeah, it's a great honor because I do the same thing, so I can't really knock it too much. All right,
so
you should watch that show, by the way. It's very funny.
All right, let me know. Maybe I'll take a peek.
Okay.
All right, so we've got Ryan. I keep forgetting how he says to pronounce this. Ryan 2WN for me. I missed the question about the countries from the last episode. Although it's too late, I'd like to say that I'm from New York City, but born in the island of Trinidad in what is the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Basically, it's 2 islands, Trinidad and Tobago, that make up a country in the Caribbean, where the text on a map is 10 times larger than the country.
Well, It's not too late, sir. It's never too late for our friend Ryan 2W4. M.E. I'm not sure how to say it either.
You forgot the
Well,
end.
he's a great friend of the show. He's always
Yeah.
leaving comments and stuff, and I'm sure OJ always appreciates reading your name. I actually have heard of Trinidad and Tobago. I knew a guy that was from there, so he was a cool guy. So I'm sure the place is cool. And Ryan actually lives in New York City now. He says
Yes.
so. He should come hang out.
Oh man.
He should come do stuff.
A Ramborgia get together? Ramborgia gathering?
He's in New York City, man. That's
All right. What about this? Maybe a Ramborgia
stone's throw
Revolution,
away.
like Reveille in Rockefeller Center or something.
okay.
All right, we got to start thinking about this. That's an idea.
Do like an event. You want to do like a big thing?
Yeah, man.
All right. I mean the summer or something.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be pretty crazy.
yeah, it would be pretty crazy.
All right.
I think
All right.
that'd
We'll
be
think
amazing.
about this. We'll think
All
about
right.
it.
So,
We can all
we're
meet at like
thinking about
the Nintendo World or
it.
something.
Yeah, Rockefeller Center, man. Oh, and there's a great French chocolate store right nearby and a wonderful bakery.
If you're gonna pay for everybody, then yeah. I mean, can't suggest
So,
that make them pay for themselves. That's not cool.
oh gosh. All right. Well, we'll go to the hot dog vendor nearby. Only one person I know had a stomach ache from eating those hot dogs.
All right, let's continue.
All right. This one's from Horo 21. Wanted to let you guys know I've been spreading the digital disease here in San Francisco. Symptoms include wearing hats for prolonged periods of time, cosplaying, candle making, and growing manly beards.
I think it's funny that you can't say shitty when that's like our main catchphrase.
Yeah,
It's kind of
No.
strange.
it's just one of the many quirks of being me.
You can't even say the main catchphrase for the show that you're on.
I know, right? It's like one of those character flaws you get in role-playing games that give you more character generation points but hinder you severely later on.
Yes. So what is this? What's he talking about? What are these character traits that he's mentioning? I don't understand what these are.
Character traits?
Yes. What is he talking about?
Well, apparently we wear hats for prolonged periods of time.
Yes.
And I know I cosplay, so and I make candles.
Yes. And you grow a manly beard.
I don't really have a manly beard. I have a neck beard if I have a beard at all, or a terrible goatee. I believe the manly beard section is all you, my friend.
Well, if people are going to start doing this stuff, we should definitely start copyrighting our images. Or if people do indeed do this stuff, then we should get a royalty every time someone puts a hat on and makes a candle.
Oh, that's going to
but-
cause some problems.
Yes. We're all about causing problems here.
Oh boy. So, all right. Well, here's one from Moneyker. I'm from Ramborgistan.
Ramborgistan, the greatest nation of all.
Very
The most
great.
beautiful women.
You have no idea. Oh, guys, if you could see them,
The most beautiful fruit. The most beautiful fruits grow from the trees.
delectable,
The cleanest water.
crystal clear.
Yes. That's where he's from. He's a lucky man.
Yeah, I
What?
this next one's too hurtful. I think you got to do it.
All right. This one is from Deathface Gaming. Deathface Gaming says, this podcast sucks. You guys should just give up and go die in a fire.
Okay.
So his name's Deathface Gaming. We knew that Deathface hated Phil. I didn't know that we were part of this also. What did we do?
I thought we were fairly innocuous. We don't really go out of our way
Yeah,
to
I mean, I don't
upset
really-
people.
Right. I mean, I don't know what I did. I guess it's guilt by association. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought we were all about togetherness and, everybody coming together under the Ramborgian banner or something.
I'm not really sure how to answer this because I don't know if the continuity of the show is the same continuity as the Project 7 universe. So if I answer this, it may cause some sort of rift in time and space. I don't know what the ramifications of this will be.
Yeah.
This is like worlds are colliding here. I don't know.
I'd rather not go die in a fire, although I do have a funny story about that phrase.
Okay, go ahead.
If I haven't told this one before. So I studied abroad in Japan, and we were at a school, a Japanese school, so there are a ton of Japanese people there, obviously. And we were hanging out with them during lunch one day. And these two friends of mine, Adam and Craig, they were talking with a couple of girls, and Craig did something jokingly, and then Adam said, "Oh, go die in a fire." And the girls were like, "What? What?" Like, they were like, you could tell they thought they understood the English, but they kept acting confused. So my friend's like, "No, die, cease living, inside of a fire, inside flame, and they just weren't getting it. So he turned and went in Japanese and was trying to say like "hono ni shinu," and the girls were like, "What? Why would you say that? That's horrible."
Yes.
Visibly upset that someone would tell their friend to go die in a fire.
Yeah.
So to see that phrase pop up again just makes me worried.
Well, I often worry about you, so.
Yeah, so let's move on. Yeah?
So I think we should do what he says, and I think everyone should subscribe to Deathface Gaming as well. So that's all I'm going to leave it at that.
I'm a little worried at the inclusion of fire, seeing as I'm a chandler and am surrounded by flammable material.
So there always is a possibility that you may light on fire.
Yeah, I have a gas stove, for crying out loud.
Okay, fair enough.
And one of the burners doesn't work. Oh, dear. I'd
All right,
better
let's
get that
continue
checked
here.
out. So, okay, let's move on to PloopTube's comment, so I'm not scared anymore. John, could you trim and dye your beard so that it resembles Hollywood Hulk Hogan's blonde mustache, black beard? Then get OJ to curl his ponytail and grow stubble to look like Scott Hall, and then wear NWO shirts and just be jerks to everyone?
This is actually really funny because when you made your debut on YouTube,
Yeah.
when you were wearing your dance suit, a lot of people were saying you look like Razor Ramon. And Razor Ramon is Scott Hall, so.
Well, that's the thing. See, what's funny is PloopTube suggests that I curl my ponytail. My ponytail curls. It is curled right zicking now, man.
Yes, you were actually mistaken for Scott Hall when you initially debuted on YouTube. They were like, is that Scott Hall with John? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
so I don't have to do anything but forget to shave for a day or two.
Right. So I guess I could make myself look like Hogan. I don't know if I'd really want to look like Hogan. If I had to pick a wrestler to look like, it would probably be someone like Vader. I think that'd be more of a better look. As far as being jerks to everyone, we don't really need to dress up to do that. I think we can just do that normally. So I don't know if this will actually happen as far as us dressing up.
I mean, we're jerks
Such.
enough without trying to be jerks. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
what happens if we start attempting to do it on purpose?
Right. Scary stuff.
I know. Like we were saying before, we don't go out of our way to cause problems for other people.
All right, so we've got some extra time here. I think we're going to have to do a edition of Reading Rambo.
All right.
Someone actually sent me a message saying that we should change it to Reading Ramballs, which I thought was funny. So I don't know, because we use either one, I guess.
Someone else had already suggested that before.
Yeah, they kind of like you should call it Reading Ramballs instead, which I thought was funny. All right.
Reading
Whatever
Rambros.
whatever you want to call it. I guess we'll do it. We didn't do it last week. I forgot.
Aw.
So I actually have something prepared right now. This is from the book entitled It's Not Easy Being Green. It is by Jim Henson.
Aw.
It's a collection of poems and quotes from Jim Henson. It's an awesome book. I actually got this in FAO Schwartz in the Moped Workshop in New York City. You should all check it out. And the piece is a conversation between Gonzo and Kermit. So when Kermit speaks, I'll say Kermit, and when Gonzo speaks, I'll say Gonzo.
Okay.
So it starts off with Gonzo, and he says, I wish I had a coat of silk, the color of the sky. I wish I had a lady, fair as any butterfly. I wish I had a house of stone that looks down on the sea. Most of all, I wish that I was someone else but me. Kermit then replies, he comes up to him and he says, Hi there, Gonzo. What a lovely place this is. Gonzo says, yes. Kermit says, what's the matter? Gonzo says, I don't have a coat of silk. Kermit says, but you still have the sky. Gonzo says, I don't have a lady. Kermit says, but there goes a butterfly. And Gonzo replies, now I don't have a house of stone, but I can see the sea. Now most of all, I guess that I'm happy to be me. I'm happy to be me.
Aw.
That's great stuff, man.
That's
That's a great book. So much positive stuff in there. It's really inspiring and good. I really enjoy it.
yeah. That's the thing that we got to keep thinking about. Being don't dwell on the bad stuff.
There's always some good, maybe, that you get distracted from because of the negativity.
Exactly. I
And
mean,
you
if
can
you
focus
start,
on the negative stuff, or you can focus on the good stuff. So,
it's just focus whatever you focus on is what you're gonna A, think about more often, and B, it's probably gonna happen more often.
Right. It's all about choice.
Yeah, I mean, and oh wow, I opened up my book of familiar quotations. I came across something actually that's kind of relevant here,
Okay.
vaguely.
All right. Go ahead.
This is from John Godfrey
A
Sachs.
double dose of reading Randball.
This is
today.
very short.
Okay.
I'll find a way, or make it. From John Godfrey Sachs in Where There's a Will, There's a Way, stanza number 2. So yeah, if you're focused on the negative stuff, you're not going to think you're going to be able to accomplish anything. If you think about, how you're able to do this, and even if there's no way to do it now, I'll make a way to do it,
Also, you could look at the negative, but if you look at the negative in a positive light. So, for instance, you go, well, I didn't do that well at this, something, right? Instead of going, oh, I suck, I'm done, you can say, well, how can I improve this
Yeah.
and get better at it?
I'll do
So,
that much better next time.
I will do better, yes. So we got a little time here. You got anything you want to talk about? What's going on? What's really going on, OJ? What's going on below the surface?
Oh, below the surface?
Below the lies, below the...
Below the calm facade I put on over the
Yes.
raging maelstrom that is my psyche?
Exactly. What's going on? What's really happening?
I don't know, man. I've been working a lot. I think
that's
every
good.
night this week I've either been working on the store or talking over stuff with you. So
Yeah.
it's been pretty busy, and I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
Yes.
It's going to go see the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I don't know if maybe I could get some footage of interesting stuff there and just do a little thing on that. But
People love footage, man. It's always fun. And also, even if no one checks it out, which they will check it out, I'm not saying they won't, but it's always cool. Like, I have all these good videos now I can go back and look at stuff I was doing. It's really cool. So
this is the important thing. I mean, this is why it's important to, if you don't have a camera, if you don't have anything, if you don't have an audio recorder, after you do something really amazing or something really fun, or have a nice day with your friends or something, write it down, because you're going to want to remember it.
Right.
I went on a vacation where a few years ago I didn't write anything down. I didn't pay attention. I took a few pictures, whatever. And I found myself later on talking with my friend who I'd gone on the trip with, and she said, like, hey, do you remember this? And I was like, no, I don't really remember that. She's like, oh, it was so awesome. And then finally, after maybe 10 minutes, I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. But it was that hard to get back to it. When good stuff happens, you got to get that stuff down somehow, because you're going to enjoy it so much going back and thinking about it. It doesn't have to be much, just a couple sentences, but just put a brief thing down about what you enjoyed so much. And, you've got one life, and you might as well, if there's something really awesome that happens, put it down there so you can remember it later. And if you got a camera or something, bring it along. If you can't bring it with you then, make a video when you get home. It's easy as pie, man. Just hit the record button and talk about your day.
pedal to the metal.
Yeah, just get out. Just do something.
One thing I have to say, though, you have to be careful not to get too wrapped up in the camera stuff, because I go, like, for instance, I went to, like, a show, and I was so, like, concerned about the camera and, like, filming and, like, capturing the event that, like, I kind of, like, didn't get to enjoy being at the show.
Yeah.
So I can't get too, like, worried about it.
Right. So write it down when you get home. Just write a brief little thing about it. I mean, I was listening to, have you heard of the group Matt and Kim?
I have not.
I don't remember the exact lyrics to this song. It's called Cameras. And I think they said something along the lines of, there's no time for cameras, let's use our eyes instead. And went on about how you've got to live your life because, you're not dead yet and you're going to be eventually. So, It's a good point. Like walking around seeing people completely absorbed in the camera, they're not experiencing it themselves. You've got to...
Exactly.
I'll even take my glasses off sometimes so I can see stuff just through my own two eyes with no filters in between. Just because that's what bugs me about having glasses.
That's what you do at the strip club.
Well, that's to keep them from getting smudged. But that's the issue here, man. Like you just want to... Well, plus it lets you get real close because, oh, sorry, I'm nearsighted.
Did you ever go to a strip club?
Why would I do that? That's expensive.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
All
right, we won't talk about that. I think we're good. I think that was some good procrastinating there.
Well,
so, what, you have more to say?
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right, so what we'll do is take a little break For you guys, it'll be like a split second.
Yeah, it's like time dilation here.
And then we'll be coming back with our amazing guest for the week, which I'm very happy about. I'm very excited to do this interview, and let's do it up. So,
yeah, I'm excited too.
All right, I'll be right back.
Roger.
Bye. All right, welcome back to the show. Today's guest can be found at johnpatricklowry.com. He's a musician, actor, the author of the science fiction novel Dancing with Eternity, and his voice acting skills can be found in such titles as No One Lives Forever, the Halo series, and he's, of course, the sniper in Team Fortress 2. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, John Patrick Lowry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys.
How's it going today, John?
It's been a great day. I just found out that Dancing with Eternity won an award. It won the Forward Firsts Award for independently published fiction, so that's very nice news.
That is awesome,
Oh,
and
congratulations.
OJ actually read the book as well, so we're going to talk about that too. So that's great news. Congratulations on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we currently have 3 Johns on the show right now. So my first question is to you is, what are your thoughts on the name John, and has it served you well in life?
I think that no household is complete without a John. Sometimes it's even good to have a men's John and a woman's John. So,
Okay.
I think that it's we are essential. We're not even useful. We're essential.
I have to agree with that. So we actually met you at MagFest.
Right.
And yeah, it was very cool to talk with you there, and very happy that we get the chance to talk with you again today. Looking at your website on your blog, it looks like you go to a lot of conventions. So what is it about conventions that you enjoy and all that?
I'll have to tell you, the thing that Ellen and I both enjoy, of course, my wife, for the fans out there, I'm sure they all know, my wife, Ellen McLean, is the voice of GLaDOS on Portal and Portal 2, as well as many other games that she's been on. But the thing that we really enjoy the most is the amazing level of creativity that we see the fans have. I mean, the costumes that they create themselves, and the art that they create, and the games, the mods that they create. I mean, it's just wonderful seeing our work being tossed out into the culture, and having that work inspire so much creativity in return. It's really great.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So we just started actually hitting the convention circuit. That was like one of the first ones we've gone to was MagFest. So which ones do you actually recommend that we might go to, we should go to?
All of the ones we've been to so far have been very interesting. One that's kind of unique and you might want to check out is a thing called SiegeCon in Atlanta, which is not so much a fan fest as it is almost a job market. I mean, basically a whole bunch of schools in the area that have game design schools, that teach programming and animation and all that stuff that goes into game design. Excuse me. They have put together this convention that brings all these students with a bunch of professionals in the industry, not just voice actors, but composers and programmers and, level designers, animators, all that kind of stuff, so that students can talk to people who are working in the industry and, and really get kind of a more realistic idea of what it's going to take to get from being in school to actually working in the industry. And I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. We're going to have to get to some more conventions, maybe see you in person again soon.
Yeah.
So,
Ellen, I'm not going to be able to be at MomoCon this year. MomoCon is a con coming up in March in Atlanta. I thought that Ellen and I were both going to be able to be there, but I gotta play up here, so in Seattle. So I will be doing art, but she will be there in late March. So
very nice. So you do acting, you do music, you do all kinds of things. You're also an author, which you mentioned at the start of the interview here. And at MagFest, you actually had your book with you, which is called Dancing with Eternity. And OJ over here, he actually has read your book, so he was going to throw you some questions about that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to finish it in time between MagFest and now, because I got stuck and didn't get a chance to actually pick up a copy from you while you were at the table. The one time I had free time was Saturday, but I only had a few minutes, and you were off at your panels and stuff, so I didn't get to see you. So I had to order one. But it came in time, and I managed to finish it, so I was really scared. But so I had a lot of fun reading the book. I mean, I wasn't expecting quite as much thought-provoking themes and stuff in there. That, you're really talking about humanity, survival, and what it means to be alive and what to make of a life. I mean, what was it that you were thinking of? Like, what got you inspired enough? Like, what got you to sit down and write this story?
Well, I mean, a couple of things. For one thing, I'm just a weird guy. But I mean, there was a kind of a tragic event in my life where I lost someone very important to me. And that had been bothering me for a long time. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know if they were alive or dead. And the only real way that I could be with them was to write this book. But more specifically, I mean, a couple of things occurred to me. One thing is that in a lot of science fiction, you run across various immortal races, and they're always very serene and wise and godlike and stuff like that. And I just thought, I mean, my mind tends to think in jokes, and it just seemed to me it would be funny if we just took regular old, warty old, smelly old us, and what would happen if we became immortal? Because, and and one of the jokes in the book, I said, that people don't really seem to get wiser as they get older. They really just seem to get more cantankerous and opinionated. So, what would happen if that went on for thousands of years? But that idea of just humanity, regular old people being immortal, started bringing up all kinds of other ideas. What do you do with people that annoy you? You can't kill them because nobody dies, and so they end up sticking around forever. War becomes silly because you can't kill anybody, and so it just started becoming this little petri dish, this little scientific experiment where you took humanity and just changed one thing, and the one thing is that nobody dies anymore. And it became this incredibly fertile machine for generating little scenarios in which to observe human behavior as it is now, which is just what I like to do. That's just my version of fun, is looking at us and trying to figure out what makes us tick and what makes us do the things we do.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say, without giving away anything in the book, but just seeing the differences in how some of the people take, their lives as they are. It was just really...
Well, of course, this is what I tried to do. I tried to, populate it with a spectrum of people, some of whom really get along great with the technology and, can't wait for the latest, upgrade. And other people that are really afraid of the technology and don't know what to do with it. Other people who don't want to have anything to do with it at all. And also tried to deal with some of the unattended consequences. I mean, that's another thing that I'm really very much interested in, and I think that having read the book, you'll probably agree that most of the plot of the book is unintended consequences. That people take this or that action with this or that goal in mind, and something completely different happens.
Yeah.
And I see that again and again in what human beings are doing now. I mean, I think that a lot of the intractable argument going on between the two halves of American culture right now really is unintended consequences from a whole bunch of people trying to do what's best and trying to do what's good for everybody.
So there was one thing that stuck out when I was reading the book that I just had to ask about. It's not a supremely deep question or anything.
Okay.
But you mentioned at one point there's a structure in space that looks like a giant gaming, I think in your words, a giant gaming piece, a huge dodecahedron.
Right.
Was this inspired by tabletop role-playing games?
No.
Oh, boy.
Actually, I mean, if you notice that thing is one of the sculptures in a place called Plato Park. Mm-hmm. And Plato is the guy who came up with these ideal shapes. Well, I mean, he didn't come up with them alone. I mean, Aristotle was involved in these other, but these shapes, he was the one that put them into philosophy, and he was the one who started talking about the ideal sphere, where things can be perfect, and the earthly sphere, where everything's kind of fudged. I mean, the idea that there is no perfect sphere in the real world, is just true. You have to go into an ideal world, just a world of ideas, where the actual sphere, an actual perfect sphere, exists. And once again, my mind works in jokes. And actually, the description of the dodecahedron as a giant gaming piece was inspired by tabletop role playing. Although I never did, I was a little bit too old for Dungeons and Dragons. By the time Dungeons and Dragons came along, I wasn't really playing games anymore. I kind of grew up. The role-playing games that I had were, I don't know if you guys even know about the company Avalon Hill. Do they even exist anymore? Yeah, okay.
I've heard of them, definitely, yeah.
Right. Well, back in the 60s, they were making games like Gettysburg and D-Day, where, the gaming board was just a map of where a battle took place. And, and the pieces were simply little rectangles of cardboard with a unit name and its power and stuff like that printed on it, and you would basically reenact these historic battles, and so that's kind of, and of course the Avalon Hill games just had a 6-sided die, so it wasn't really until Dungeons and Dragons that people started coming up with the idea that if a die had more sides, we could have more choices, and it would be a little bit more realistic. So.
That's true. I was just thinking, well, you've got pretty much a full set there. I mean, at least if you're a wizard or something, you'll be okay. But
not everything has to do with Dungeons and Dragons, John. Come on.
All right.
Yeah. Which John are you talking to? I'm
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I guess for the duration, I should remain as OJ.
Yes. So I was checking you out on IMDb.
Uh-huh.
Is it cool to be on IMDb? First of all, it's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. It's not. It's kind of fun to check out how famous you are compared to particularly like my wife. So
Okay, let's see. Someone, I'm gonna have to set that up for myself someday. But,
exactly. Yeah.
So I was checking it out. I saw that you started doing voice acting for games in around '97.
I actually started doing the work in '96. The games were released in '97. That's right.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That time period was really like the beginning of video game voice acting, I would say.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
How did you get involved in doing voice acting for games, and what was it like in the early days of video game voice acting?
Basically, the reason that I got involved early on is because I'm an actor and I live in Seattle. Sierra Online and Humongous were game companies, very, very early pioneers in games, and they set up shop up here. I already had a voice reel. I was already doing voice acting in commercials and film narrations and stuff like that. And I had an agent, and so these companies sent out auditions to my agent. And of course, at that time, back in the dark ages, you actually had to go down to a recording studio to audition. And you'd see all the other voice actors there. You'd all line up, and everybody would be going into the room one at a time to do these characters. And they would record all these things on, reel-to-reel tapes, and then they would mail the reel-to-reel tapes to the companies, which would take, 5 days or something like that. And then they'd sit around and listen to them, and it'd take you 3 or 4 weeks to hear back. And of course, now, my agent sends me the audition material at home by email. I record it on my computer, turn it into an MP3 file. Email, actually don't email back to him. I put it up on his website, and the clients, the game manufacturers can just go to his website and listen to my audition, and they can hire me without ever having seen me. So it's all changed now.
Very cool. When you first heard the idea back then of voices in video games, was that like a big thing? Was that like kind of a strange idea to you?
Well, I had already been. I loved Myst. Which was kind of the really inaugural, the thing that made home computer video games an idea. With the beautiful graphics and all that kind of stuff. And I just loved Myst. I just absolutely loved it. And so when they started making video games up here, I just was, it was great. It was a great idea. I'm glad that they're using actors, because the one thing, the only thing you can say about Myst is that the two brothers were the actors, and so the acting is not professional. It's just two brothers, doing the best they can, and they obviously did it plenty well to make Myst a fun game. But even in the later incarnations of Myst, they started hiring professional actors to play the roles. So,
right on.
So jumping ahead a bit. From the days of Betrayal in Antara and Total Annihilation back then, you've been in more recently some very high-profile games such as Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead, the various episodes for Half-Life 2, and these were all work with the company Valve.
Uh-huh.
What was it like what was it like to work with them? Was the experience very tremendously different than before?
Well, I think that, in the early days, the very early days, people really didn't know, game designers really didn't know what to do with actors. They just had no idea. And when I went in for Betrayal at Antara and things like, Spy Fox breakfast cereal and stuff like that,
Nice.
they would just give you a series of lines, and you didn't know who you were talking to, you didn't know why you were talking, you didn't know what the situation was, and they didn't either. The writers wouldn't be there. You would ask them, well, why am I saying this? And they go, I don't know. The writer's not here. Well, could you get a hold of him? Maybe, and it was so weird. And of course, one story I love to tell, and this is, I love the people at Sierra Online, and I love doing Betrayal at Antara. But there was this one moment where there was a line. The line was just "Goodbye, son," and I said, "Why am I saying goodbye to my son?" And once again, they said, I don't know. And said, well, maybe we can call up the writer. And so they called up the writer, and they talked to him for a while. Of course, I'm just in the booth. I can't hear what they're saying. But then, then they get back to me and they say, okay, what's happening is this is the place where the game branches. And your son is either going to go down the street and buy a loaf of bread and be back in 5 minutes, or he's going to go through this dimensional gate into another universe and you're never going to see him again. So could you say it so that it would work either way?
Nice.
And so I said, sure. Goodbye, son.
It's like the Wild West back then.
Right. But by the time I was doing No One Lives Forever and The Suffering and stuff like that, these guys were, game designers were starting to hire writers who had worked in Hollywood and stuff like that. And so these guys were used to working with actors. And they would send the writers to the recording sessions so that they could tell you exactly what was going on. Things that you need to know, like what's the level of noise in the background? Am I in a big battle? Am I in a big room? Am I shouting across a large space to somebody, or are they right beside me? Are we trying to hide? So I need to be real quiet. How do I feel about the other person? Am I and all this kind of stuff. And that started really coming together. And by the time I started working with Valve on Half-Life 2, Bill Van Buren and Eric Wolpaw and everybody at Valve was very, very, very hip to the whole craft of acting and the craft of storytelling and how actors are a part of that craft. And so it was just a lot of fun. It was just a whole lot of fun.
So
I have to ask you this: did you ever have a chance to work in any of those full motion video type video games that came out? Like Sega CD type stuff in the late 90s?
No. The closest I've gotten to that is I just did a mocap audition for Bungie last fall, but I don't think I got the part. So I think mocap is kind of the next thing in games.
Well, I think you're lucky you avoided those games from the 90s that had that graphic style. They were pretty awful games, so it all worked out for you.
So you were talking a bit about, how you finally started working with people, who knew how to work with actors and stuff. So when you were doing stuff, for example, Team Fortress 2, I mean, that you're basically, I mean, you've got to do lines for a guy who's running around. He could be with one of 9 different people at any given time, taunting, all sort of stuff like that. Did you end up hanging out with the other actors, the voice actors at all, or was it mostly just people, individual booth, just doing their stuff at different times?
The reality, just the financial reality of recording makes it almost prohibitive to get more than one actor in the booth at a time, because they're paying me by the hour, and they're paying the recording studio by the hour. If I'm in there with another actor, then they're paying me to sit around and listen to that actor half the time. Huh. Now, I just did a demo for a new game where they had 2 of us in at once because they were very much concerned with defining the relationship between these 2 characters. They were kind of, but people that didn't really like each other, they've been shoved together, but they, grudgingly respect each other and all kinds of stuff. And they're constantly digging at each other and throwing quips back and forth and stuff like that. And so they wanted us in there together. And I hope that is a wave of the future, but I just don't know. But as far as Team Fortress 2 goes, I know Dennis Bateman, I know Gary Schwartz, I've forget everybody who's on Team Fortress, but I know quite a few of them, and of course I know Ellen, my wife.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the announcer. So, I mean, we hang out quite a bit with each other, just not in the studio while we're working on the games.
Okay, so it's not like you're running around at lunch and asking for sandwiches and stuff like that.
No, we really don't carry the accent outside of the booth.
One thing I had to ask about was, so did you know in advance when you were going to be doing the sniper that he was going to have a weapon that was a bottle of presumably urine?
No, they don't tell us that stuff. But, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, so when they told you, oh, you have to say Girardi, did you ask what's Girardi? Like, did you?
Yeah,
like...
and they told me. Right.
Okay.
No, it didn't bother me at all. I mean, a guy whose job calls on him to sit around turning coffee into urine for hours at a stretch, it made perfect sense to me that he would turn that into a weapon. I mean, he's an assassin.
He's a resourceful fellow.
That's right.
So, well, in keeping with his character, well, now I'm going to do my best to be professional and polite when I ask this, but would you be so kind as to grace us with a sample of some of the voices you've done?
All right. Well, the nice thing is that you've been listening to all the citizens in Half-Life 2 this whole conversation because
oh, nice.
They just wanted me to use my voice as the citizens in Half-Life 2. Of course, I mean, the sniper is Australian and he talks like this, and he's this sort of person. Let's see. I did this in Halo ODST. I did this awful South African dude, but I don't know if I can. I mean, he had he was a Boer, he was Dutch. He had this kind of Dutch accent, but it's with the South African thing too. I mean, I've just done so many of them. Pudge on Dota 2 is this sort of Cockney, pudgy guy. I don't know if you've played Dota 2 yet, but that's Pudge. And another guy, Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit is this kind of over-the-top actor dude. Hey, I'm over here now. Okay, where am I now? And stuff like that. I mean, they just go on and on and on and on and on. I mean, an interesting one. There's a guy, a real bad guy in Dota 2, made out of ice. I forget his name. But he's very talks like this, and stuff like that. I mean, you really do. You end up doing all kinds of things with your voice.
Cool.
Did they give you a little bit of a sampling anyway?
Oh, very nice. Yeah. I mean, I was looking through some of the lists. First of all, for Dota 2, you've got like 8 characters listed on IMDb. Wow.
If they're 8, then they owe me for 1 because they've only paid for 7.
Close. Okay, off by 1. One other question. So for voices you've done a long time ago, for example, the narrator from Total Annihilation, is it hard to go back and remember those, or?
Well, if somebody wanted me to go back and do more narrator for Total Annihilation, I would simply ask them to play back some of the original recording. Once I hear it, I can reproduce
the game to bring back sequel or something. 2012, a new version.
Right. I mean, if for some bizarre reason they decided to do that, then I would. Yeah. But this has come up. I mean, when we're doing, when we were doing Team Fortress 2, they would. I mean, I recorded stuff for that over, a couple of years anyway. And I'd always ask them to play back some of the stuff that I'd done earlier so that I could match it because, there are lots of Australian accents and there are lots of ways that I can pitch my voice and stuff like that. And so, at this point, so many people have asked me to do Team Fortress 2 so much and to do the sniper. And the nice thing is that there's that wonderful Meet the Sniper cartoon.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, and and it's hilarious to me too, and I love to watch it, and so it's really in my ear now. But like I say, if I was going to do more of the South African rapist dude in Halo ODST, I'd ask him to play the original recordings just so that I could tune into it again.
Yeah, and I did want to say that you made one of my friends very happy by doing the infamous Letter to Princess Celestia video. That was the panel at MagFest, right? Because I missed that. I was at our booth when that was going on, but oh my gosh, a couple of my friends went berserk when they heard it.
I know, and it's very interesting to me because, of course, I've only heard of My Little Pony because I've gone to these fests, these fan cons.
Oh boy!
And so, and I've seen the artwork and stuff like that. And, and so I say, okay, well, all right, I get it. This is some other kind of anime thing that people like. Why people like to conflate Team Fortress 2 and My Little Pony and have them talk to each other. I guess it's because Team Fortress 2 is so violent and My Little Pony is so nice and sweet or something. I don't know. What you'd have to tell me more about My Little Pony for me to really know what's going on here.
You don't want to know anymore.
Okay.
Already.
It's probably for the best. One of my friends won't stop talking about it, so.
Well, it was
scary world out there.
It was a lot of fun to do, and obviously everybody just thought it was just the bee's knees and the toad's toes that I was talking to Princess Celestia, and so I was glad to do it.
All right, so you've done voices for a lot of games. I see Fear 2's on there, Infamous. Those are great games. Huh? You mentioned Halo as well.
Right.
What was it like being involved in such a high-profile title like Halo?
Well, mostly, there's lots of security. I mean, you can't get into Bungie without practically giving them a sample of your DNA and promising to die before you leave. Wow. Because it's just so proprietary, and so the I guess the level of industrial espionage and fan espionage. I mean, one of the biggest challenges for game makers that really have a name for themselves is keeping things from fans, because really a new game is going to be a much better experience the less fans know about it when they start to play it. There's a certain amount that you need to give away just to generate excitement, but you really don't want to give away any more than you absolutely have to. But of course, just like I was when I was, a teenager or in my 20s or my 30s, if there was a way to try to figure out what was going on, I would do it. And I don't blame the fans at all for trying to figure out what, when, say, Valve is going to release Half-Life 3, say, or something like that. But the companies work really, really hard to make sure that information doesn't get out before it's supposed to.
So, keeping with that line of thought, do you have any information about the next Halo game?
Of course, Halo has the property. Halo has been given back to Microsoft, I think, and so Bungie.
Yeah, it's going to another. It's no longer with Bungie. I think it's going to another studio now.
And I believe they're doing it non-union. The actors are non-union, so I wouldn't be able to work on that game because I'm.
All right, right on. So, what advice do you have for those that would like to get involved in the voice acting world?
Well, first thing, this is what I tell everybody. The first thing you need to do is learn how to act, and you can do that a lot of different ways. The second thing you need to do is stay flexible, which means that if you become an actor, you need to accept the fact that you're going to be acting in anything that anyone will pay you to act in, just so that you can pay your bills and keep a roof over your head. But that being said, if your goal is to become a voice actor in video games, once you learn how to act, there are places, and of course I think there's I'm blocking his name, Ken, the guy who announces the Washington Capitals, the hockey team there.
I'm not sure.
He was at MagFest with us, but
okay.
But he knew somebody in the DC area that could teach you about voice acting and help you put together a voice demo. I know people out here in Seattle, and I'm sure there are people in LA and probably Atlanta and some of the other big centers of voice manufacturing. Of game design and stuff. But it'd be good to talk to them and get some lessons there. You need a voice demo. Absolutely need a voice demo, and you're going to get a lot farther if you have an agent. So, of course, getting an agent means that you have to be good, because agents are going to listen to your voice demo and decide whether or not they're going to be able to make any money off of you. So first learn how to act, then learn how to use your voice. And of course, using your voice is part of acting. And really, the things specific to voice acting, such as using your voice to let people know that you are, say, getting out of a chair or running upstairs or running instead of walking, to actually be able to stand at a microphone in a studio and and sound like you're being active. That's part of it. But 98% of voice acting is being able to put yourself in a situation, and particularly since video games mostly are about action. You're fighting, you're trying to kill aliens before they kill you, or you're trying to kill bad guys before they kill you, or something very extreme is going on compared to daily life. They really haven't gotten into drawing room comedy video games where everyone's just sitting around making jokes and telling stories. So, most of what you're doing in game acting is, come on over here, they're shooting at me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so in order to do that well, anybody can just yell and scream, but in order to really put yourself into a situation where the person who's playing the game is not going to get knocked out of the situation by an actor who doesn't seem as invested as he should be if alien spiders were eating his intestines, it takes a high level of commitment. But that's, and that's really all about acting. It's all about sense memory and knowing what your objective is, knowing what your obstacle is, all that basic stuff about acting.
Yeah. I've actually been trying to do some acting myself. I'm not very good. What do you recommend specifically for acting? Do you recommend classes, things like that? What would you say?
I think classes can be very good. You want to talk to. If you can get in touch with any professional actors around you, and if they have people that they can recommend, it really helps. Because there are some really good classes, there are really good acting classes, there are people who really know what they're doing teaching, and then there are people who really aren't very good, and they're teaching because they don't know how to act, and they haven't been good enough to get a job, and so they teach instead.
Right.
And so this is just I'm not trying to diss anybody here, but you do want to be careful because there are some people that really aren't out to take your money, but really don't have that much to offer you for the money that they're asking. So, but yeah, out here, if you were in Seattle, there are places that I could direct you to easily. In New York, there are wonderful places. I'm sure in D.C. there are some good places. I don't know where you guys are.
Yeah, we're in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. New York. There's just
everything
all over the place, right?
I'm just lazy. I guess. I don't know.
Well, of course, the premier place in New York City is the Actors Studio. If you can get, of course, you have to audition to get into it and stuff like that. But get on the Backstage is still available online, and that's just filled with acting class advertisements. And so
Okay.
I would just confab with any actors that you know. Hi, have you ever been? Do you know anybody who's been to this class? Is it any good? Stuff like that. It's good.
Right.
Check it out.
Right on. What can you tell us about your future? What's going on? What new projects are you working on? And what are you up to in the coming months and all that?
I'm going to be doing a play out here in Seattle from February to May. That's my next solid gig. Of course, Ellen and I continue to do voice work, but we never know about it until a few days ahead of the gig. So, right now we don't have anything coming up, but that could change, in the next 15 minutes. I'm working on my second novel, into about chapter 4 on that, and that's going along pretty well. And really, the life of a professional actor is mostly staying loose and auditioning. So,
So you never know where we might find you.
Yeah.
Exactly. At this point, if you're out in Seattle, sometime between March and May, I'll be working in a show called It Should Have Been You at the Village Theater. And, if any of the listeners out there happen to be up in the Pacific Northwest and they want to come out and say hi, please feel free to hang around after the show and I'll come out and shake your hand and stuff like that. But like I say, the big news today was that Dancing with Eternity, my novel, just won the inaugural, the very first Forwards debut fiction quarterly contest. It's called the Forward Firsts Award, and I think that's very gratifying to know that my little piece of Flotsam and Jetsam is getting noticed by critics and having attention paid to it.
Well,
so
it's obvious you've put a lot of yourself into the novel, and that, I sorry, I just like it a really whole lot. So, but hearing that it wins an award, I'm like, Yeah, I could see that. It's that good. So I'm just
Well, good.
don't put it
good.
down.
I think,
Flotsam and Jetsam. Come on, man. It was awesome.
Well, tell.
I think he's trying to get a free copy of your next book.
I
That's
see.
what he's saying.
Okay, good. Well, tell all your friends, if you sell 100 copies of this book, I will give you a free copy of the next book. How's that?
Challenge
All right, there you
accepted.
Yeah.
All right, so it was definitely a lot of fun talking to you. If you ever have anything going on that you want to talk about or something's happening, let us know. We'll get you on here anytime. So
Okay, great. And I think that the MagFest would like to have us back, and I'm not sure. Our publicist is trying to get us into Comic-Con next time up in New York, so we may be up in your area.
Okay.
But I'll definitely let you know. And of course, Chris Pope. You guys know Chris. He's our
yeah, I've been talking. Very very nice guy.
and he knows everything, and so I'm sure that he will be. He is our funnel through which all information goes. But feel free to email us. If you want to get in touch with us, we're pretty easy to get in touch with. Okay.
All right, so I think it's going to do it. Do you have any final words you'd like to say, or?
Yeah, to all the young people out there who love games and are so creative, just keep up the good work. You really make Ellen and I feel optimistic about the future. We have had so much fun meeting you and interacting with so many of you, and just the high degree of intelligence and love of your fellow man really makes us feel good. So keep up the good work.
All right, excellent. So the show will be back next week. It's normal time slot next Friday. And thank you everyone for listening. For John, for other John, my name is John. Thank you. Thank you for listening to John Rambo Presents, the best in free and optional entertainment. See you next time. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.